Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope you are doing very well. So whenever the time you catch this video on whether it's on record or you are together with me in the live class, thank you very much, and keep appreciating your commitment and hard work in the program. So it has been quite a ride, not an easy one. We are on the week 9, and as we said in the last class yesterday, we say that because this module of understanding of this module of the purpose and power of healing and forgiveness was a big an extensive module. So we said we are going to cut it into 2 parts. Then last Friday we did, the Friday yesterday we did part 1. Now this is part 2. So I hope you got something. So yesterday we were talking about, in the part 1, we talked about pain. We were talking about pain. We talked about failure. We said that there are 2 types of pain: emotional pain and mental pain. We talked also about depression. Now, today we are going to be talking about trauma as we go toward the end of the module of this course. So thank you very much for sticking around, and thank you very much for your commitment. And also keep reminding you that we are close to the end of the program. If you haven't yet done the assessment, if you haven't yet read through the study guide so that you can come up with the questions you are going to ask in the coming 2 weeks that are going to end, please do so that we will be on the same page. So next Friday, we're going to finish these courses on week 10, course 10. Then we'll be remaining with 2 weeks where we'll cover the mentorship, or where we'll cover the things that did not stick in your mind as it should. So make sure that if you have any question, you just write it down somewhere so that we can process this together in the next 2 weeks. So today we'll be talking about trauma, and trauma is also one of the mental health issue that comes in line with pain and depression, as we said. But trauma is a bit different, because one can experience trauma not because he has gone into pain or everything, but he can also experience trauma because of a shock, something that surprisingly happened to you, and then it creates a residue of pain inside of you. Then it creates a trauma. So, but the type of trauma we'll be talking about today is a trauma which is a result of the emotional and mental and depression, these types of pain that has resided inside your psyche or psychological in your mind, subconscious mind, that it is troubling you. So when we trying to define trauma, it is the way I define it based on my observation and did a bit of research on that, is that it's a mental condition experienced by one who has gone into extreme levels of emotional and mental disturbances gathered over a significant period of time, expressed in critical and destructive behaviors. So trauma is a little bit different from emotional and mental pain, because when we talk about trauma, it can be even expressed in terms of behaviors. So now the things have gone from being in terms of emotions and thoughts and perceptions. Now it has gone into it has become a behavior thing. So now you are behaving in a strange way. You are behaving in a destructive way. You demonstrate different behaviors that are destructive. So when it comes to trauma is also a mental state that is very, very critical, and you should know that you are going through the same so that you can properly process it and heal from it. Now, we talk about the signs of trauma, as I told you. One of the difference between trauma and other, as I was saying, other types of mental health states is that it is manifested in behaviors, destructive behaviors. I talked about specific phobias. Some, it's a fear, it's a behavior. So you behave in a, you are afraid of something. You are, because of a shock, because of something that happened in your past, you have phobias for specific things, or, even crazy things. I mean, some people are going to be having phobia of cars, of planes, of, even heights or something like that. So it means something has happened and you did not process it. I've heard one day a story of a man who, that man had a family. They were on a swimming pool, and, the kids were jumping in the pool, and they were, these small pools of kids. And then one of, his son, he jumped into the bigger pool, and, the son drowned. He was drawn into the water. He started drowning. So when he started drowning, the father jumped into the swimming pool, and then he took the son out of the pool. Then so the following week, the kid was very afraid of pools. Then the father said, if this kid is afraid of pools, the best way to help him process that pain is to put him back in the pool, so that pain can be, so that he can be familiar again. He can feel comfortable again with pools. So what that means is that if you face a shock in your life, if you face a pain in your life, it's better to process it before it becomes something which is going to be a residue, and then it's going to affect you over the years. So that's why mental health, as we said last night, it's a matter of daily maintenance. You have to do a daily maintenance. If someone has told you something disrespectful, if someone has told you, if someone has hurt you during the day, if you have faced stress, if you have gone into extreme levels of tension, you have to make sure that before you go to bed, you process that, because that's how people start becoming traumatic. So because trauma as other mental pain or mental health states or mental health issues, critical issues, it's a conditioning of your mind. So the way your mind, when something, when you talk about shock in the traumatic aspect of mental health states, you are talking about a quick conditioning of your mind. It's like breaking a bone. So it means it has bring a deformation to your mind. It has conditioned your mind as fast as possible. So that's why it has to be dealt with right away. It's just like when someone gets an injury, they have to treat that injury as soon as they can, even though the injury may be hurting a lot. After hurting let's say after breaking your ankle, man, it's hurting. So it means when they touch it, it's very, very, very sensitive. So, but despite that, the doctor has to mend it while it is still hot, if I can use that term. Now, next is critical behaviors, as I said. Some people in traumatic conditions, they will demonstrate behaviors that are crazy, like violence, like indulgences. We said it. Someone, like, let's say someone never took a sip of a beer, but because of a trauma, he starts drinking, he starts indulging in different critical behaviors, not only violence but also behaviors like lying. He was a person who never lied, but he started demonstrating these types of behaviors, or spending money in a way which is unbelievable, losing hope, losing patience, anger, anxiety. All these are signs of trauma. They are similar to signs of depression, but trauma is more, it's a behavior thing. So someone behaves in a different way. While depression, you may see some behaviors, but depression, it's something which eats you inside. It's inside. It's more of inside. It can be outside, but it's most of the time, it's inside. Now, another thing is personality disorder. When you talk about trauma and personality disorder, they are things that goes together. So personality disorder means you take multiple personalities, you lose identity of yourself. That's a very, very, very dangerous thing. So because of a traumatic traumatic things that happened to you in the past, you start losing the sense of the self. But these thing of personality disorder, they come down the aisle. They come down the aisle. It's a very deep traumatic. It's a very deep problem which does not show up in 1 year or 2 years. It's something that comes along the way, to the extent where your psychologically you are so damaged that you are close to losing who you are. You forget who you are. I think this is what madness means. Mad people, they forget who they are. So you lose the sense of the self because of trauma. Next is unconscious behaviors. You start acting in a way, for example, you fight or you demonstrate extreme anger, extreme sadness, and you, after a period of time, people say, the behavior that you demonstrated today was not you. And then you are like, what did I do? So it means it's close to madness. You have some ruptures in your mental faculties to the extent where you can do things and then you forget that you've done that. So when you see these signs in a person's life, or you see these signs to your colleague or friend, that's it's a sign of trauma. Now, another one is mental dissociation. Mental dissociation is simply you are dissociated internally. It's like dividing. You are inside, you are divided. So what you feel, what you think, and what you do, they become completely different. It's like you love someone, but you hurt them. Have you heard about these, domestic violence, where people say, I did not mean to hurt her. I did not mean to beat her. I did not mean to do this and that. So that's mental dissociation. It means what the person is feeling is not what he does. What he's thinking is not what he's feeling, and what he's feeling is not what he does. So it's dissociation. You are dissociated from inside. It's also a very dangerous. It's a very dangerous sign which has to be dealt with as soon as it manifests. But again, as I said, you can't reach this mental dissociation just in one day. No. When you talk about unconscious behaviors, when you talk about personality disorder, these are the things that comes over the years, because people they go through issues that they don't process. It becomes residues, and those residues starts becoming extreme behaviors and disturbing ways of behaving, or disturbing ways of living, if I can say. So how do you recover from trauma? So when it reaches the level of trauma, just like almost depression, I don't have a lot to recommend here, except the first thing that you have to recognize it. If you recognize it either in you, or you recognize it to your friends or your colleague or your brother or your family member, if you recognize it, that's the first step. The next step is talk about it with a therapist. You have to consult a mental health professional. That's what you do. Here, there is no processing, because when things reaches the trauma level, it's not something you can treat by yourself. No, that's why it's very important to deal with things when at the early stage. Just like you have to brush your teeth every day, it's the same way you have to take care of your mental health, because you can only go to see a dentist, to remove, your tooth, because you have gone, days and months without taking care of your teeth. So it's very important to deal with mental health issues at the early stages, so that you don't need to go to the doctor. I would say that the daily care or daily mental health diagnosis, it keeps the therapist away. So you have to make sure that you deal with these things on a daily basis. If something hurt you, if something disturbed you, if something disrupted your emotions or your mental or your mental or your feelings or your thoughts, you have to make sure that you process that on that day. Now, the next thing is to find a supportive system. What do I mean by supportive system? By supportive system, I mean that when you are going through trauma, it's not good that you talk to a therapist only. No, because at the end of the day, they're just doctors. You need people around you. If you are going through if you are dealing with trauma, you don't want to deal with it on your own or between you and your doctor. No, you have to have people around you, people who support you, people who show you love, because when you get isolated, that's when things become even amplified. So isolation amplifies trauma. It's very important that you have people around you who loves you, who support you, to make sure that you go. Okay, the purpose of a supportive system is to tell your brain that it is okay. Because one of the things that causes patients to recover fast is the support of the people around them. A patient in the hospital who never gets visitors, he tends to take longer than patients who gets visitors. It gives the body a different experience and your psyche a different experience when you are on your hospital bed and someone brings flowers. When you are on your hospital beds and then 3 people show up, and then they discuss with you, it gives you a sense. So a supportive system helps to keep your social status in line, or your social to keep your psychology or your mental faculties or your subconscious mind, to keep telling your subconscious mind that you are a normal person who is passing through a testing time, which is temporary. That's what a supportive system does. It's to keep you hopeful. Voila. That's it. It's to keep you hopeful. A supportive system keeps you hopeful. A hopeful mind is going to recover very fast. Because actually, by the way, to let you know, just for your information, the medics are not going to heal you. They just put the body in a condition to heal itself. They put the mind in a position to heal itself. Because even though you go into mental health hospitals, even in careers or whatever, they don't cure madness. No, they just put the body in a condition where the mind can retrieve back the right way. That's how they treat madness. They just keep you in a situation where you don't hurt yourself, you don't do crazy stuff, you don't just disturb anyone. It puts you in a position where the mind, through calmness, through that, to put a body in a condition where it can trigger its own healing. That's what medicine does. But no one heals the body. No one medic heals the body. No. They can deal with symptoms, they can deal with things that pops up on the top, but it's just the tips of the iceberg. The real deal is the body that heals itself, and it is the mind that finds its own way back. But the medics, they put you in a condition where the mind can retrieve its own way. It allows the mind to recover itself so that you can come back to normal. That's what happens. Now, to summarize it, emotional pain affects how you feel. Mental pain affects how you think. Depression affects how you perceive, and trauma affects how you behave. These are the things. This is a summary of what we've been talking about. So as you can see, things starts by how you feel. It goes deeper into how you think. It goes deeper into how you a little bit lower to how you perceive, and then it attacks the behavior. When you see someone who is violent, it's because he's strangely violent. He has behaviors that are not normal. It's because it started by how something happened which affected which affect, it's a result of a wrong, perception, thinking, and feeling. So when you deal with pain, when it is still on the feeling level, you can be sure that you are not going to behave in a strange way. Because before someone punches another person, it starts by how that person felt. So if you deal with if you can get your feelings right, if you feel pleasant about yourself, about life, about everything about you, you cannot struggle with, you cannot have bad behaviors. You cannot be violent. You cannot be anxious. You cannot be go into extreme level of isolation, and all of these traumatic things. It can never happen to you because you have dealt with the basic of the things. It's just like, I gave an example yesterday. It's just like cooking an omelette. The quality of the eggs are going to define the quality of the omelette that you're going to eat. It's just as simple as that. So other things is just a result of that. So you have to deal with your issues, deal with your health, your mental health at early stage. Just like they say, you don't have to have problems with your kidneys. Just drink 1 or 2 liters of water every day. If you maintain, that's the term. If you maintain your kidneys early on, you don't need to see the doctor. You don't need to see the doctor. 2 liters of water a day keeps the kidney doctor. Yes, 2 liters of water or 3 liters of water a day keeps the kidney doctor away. So you have to make sure that you deal with things at the early stage. Very important. Now, so this was part 1. So the next thing, which is also one of the things that people struggle with when it comes to mental health. But this is combined. It combines 2 things. It's not only mental, but it's also behavioral something, or something which is related to behavior. Because when you talk about addiction, it's a combination of your mental faculties and their behavior. So it means your mental faculties are controlling your behaviors, and your mental faculties, or your subconscious and conscious, your mind, basically your mind is not set right. So that's why you talk about addiction, which is a persistent and abusive habit that is difficult to control and pleasurable in nature. So that's what an addiction is. An addiction is always persistent, and it's always related to pleasure. So that's why when you talk, you can't talk about mental health states or mental health related mental health topic and forget to talk about addictions, because I believe one of the reasons why people fail to reach their full potential is because of addictions. So addictions are simply, these habits that are going to become obstacles on your way. So you have to make sure that you deal with it, and you make sure that everything that has potential to hurt you, or that has potential to become an impediment to your growth, is eliminated as fast as possible. So what is a habit? So a habit is an automated behavior performed with no premeditation or conscious consideration. That's what a habit is. It's an automated behavior. What is a behavior? I think I'm going to add another slide of behavior. So a behavior is just a mindset. What is a mindset? It's a thinking pattern. It's a thinking pattern. So it means an addiction is a thinking, it's a thought which became a thinking pattern, which became a behavior, which became a habit, which became an addiction. Abusive in nature and pleasurable. That's what an addiction is. So when you are dealing with addiction, you have to go back down to the thought level, because that's where the problem started. That's where the problem started. Because addiction is always intending to you are trying to satisfy something. It is promising you a pleasure. Either you are escaping something or you're trying to achieve something. But there is always a goal in the middle of addiction, in the addiction story. Now, how do you transcend addictions? Now, another thing is, you will notice that I did not say how to to fight addictions, or how to avoid addictions. Addictions are not avoided and are not fought. Addictions are transcended. What do I mean by that? You will see that in the following slides, but what I mean here is that when you talk about transcending something, it means you outgrow it. You do not avoid it. When you try to avoid an addiction, it's going to catch you sooner or later. That's why if you are struggling with alcohol, if you are struggling with any type of indulgence, if you're struggling with anger, if you are struggling with anything that is, that has become really an addiction, bad friends, sex or something, anything that is related to, that is addictive in nature, you have to make sure that you transcend it. Because if you don't transcend it, it means it is going to come back. Some people say, the best way to stop alcohol is to stop going to the bar. No. Or the best way to stop seeing these people, or taking drugs, it's avoiding these people. No, I don't think so. Because even though you avoid those people, still, that's part of it. But the first thing that you have to do, you have your mind, because it started with your thought. It has to outgrow the power of that addiction so that it becomes a stepping stone. You will see it. Now, number one on the steps to transcend addictions is to accept that you are addicted. That's the first thing. Because if a behavior, if you don't understand that, if you don't believe that you are addicted, then there is no discussion about transcending it or recovering from it or overcoming it. The first step is to accept that you are addicted. You say, you know what, this behavior is addictive. Now, the next step is to identify your triggers. What are the triggers that trigger alcohol? What are the triggers that triggers, drugs? What are the triggers that trigger spending? What are the triggers that trigger, sexual behaviors that are destructive? What are the triggers that trigger any type of addiction? Nightclubs and so forth. You have to identify your triggers. When you know your triggers, the next step is you start reversing the habit. What do I mean by reversing the habit? Actually, to transcend an addiction, it's a result of reversing the habit. What do I mean by reversing the habit? Let's say you are addicted to movies, or you are addicted to drugs, or you are addicted to alcohol, or let's say pornography or something, any addictive thing. What you do is, if you used, because let's say it took you 10 years, or it took let's say 5 years. It took you 5 years to be addicted to a given drug, heroin, marijuana, or whatever, or just it took you 5 years to be addicted. What you do, you are not going to stop right away. It's just impossible. That's very unrealistic. You cannot just you cannot reverse, you cannot stop addiction because someone has prayed for you or something like that. No. Because it took you 5 years to go into the pit, you have to take also other 5 years, or I can say 2 years or something, but close to 5 years to come back from the pit. To go up from the pit. So how do you do that? If you used to watch movies 12 hours a day, and you want to transcend that addiction and overcome it, you have to start by cutting 30 minutes from your movies. If you used to watch movies 12 hours a day, now start watching them 11 hours and 30 minutes a day. So remove 30 minutes. Remove 30 minutes. When you remove 30 minutes, do it for 21 days. Just spend 21 days, or even 42 days, because normally it takes 21 days for something to become almost a habit. Your brain has started wiring, because when you talk about a habit, you are wiring your brain. It's like programming your brain. So the reason why you can't the reason why you can't stop an addiction in one day or one prayer session, it's because it's a program. It's a program that has gone in your brain. So when you talk about stopping the program to be executed, you have to deprogram. It's like reverse engineering the coding so that you can come back to the initial, to the starting. Now, what you do is you start baby steps. So if you used to watch it 12 hours a day, stop and watch it 11 hours and 30 minutes a day. Do it for 21 days, and the next 21 days, remove not 30 minutes this time, remove 45 minutes. Then you just fall to 10 and 15. After that, instead of removing, then just stretch it a little bit. The next day also, keep the momentum to sustain it up to 45 minutes. Then the next 42 days, you can put 1 hour, one hour and a half, 1 hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. You keep cutting, and then it takes you time. And then, by the way, because addiction has first of all, addiction has triggers, but again, addiction has, it has rewired your brain in a certain way. So that's why it's very, very, very crucial that you go through the process. The importance of the process is this: when you are going through the process, you are also learning to master yourself. You are learning to master yourself. Just like I talked about it in the study guide, this is how you stop an addiction. You start learning to stop the movie where the movie is coming to the best scene. I mean, where the thing starts hitting, you close and then you go. So that will help the brain to stop when things get exciting. You see, so it means you are coaching your brain to stop in the middle of pleasure. You are teaching your brain to delay gratification. It's like you are addicted to shopping. You go into the shop with the money, with everything, you view everything, and then you can afford it. You tease up the appetite, and then you go out of the store. You purchase one thing, and then you go. Just do that exercise. And then the next time, the more you do it, you will be rewiring your brain back. I think this is the best course on addiction. People don't talk about addiction in this way. They tend to think that you have to cut it, just stop it. No. I mean, if you're addicted to pornography, you cannot say, I'm going to stop in one day. No. If you used to watch it for, let's say, 5 hours a day, though it will kill you, 5 hours a day, you have to reverse that. And learn to stop when things get exciting. I mean, that's the key of addictions. Because addiction, oh my God, I like this. Because addiction is related to pleasure. If you can learn to go midway in the pleasure and break it, you have started breaking the addiction. You are transcending the addiction. I mean, it builds a robust mental power you cannot imagine. You say these people, these people, I don't want to give this example. But listen, if you can learn to break the pleasure in the middle of it, there is, a man like that, a person with that kind of self-control, he's a robust person. These are the people who are extremely, when you start building that kind of mental power, you become very calm, you become very patient, you become very intelligent. It builds a very, your brain brings power. It's like bodybuilding. It's like bodybuilding. Because addiction is related to pleasure, if you can break the addiction, it's like someone who is trying to stop alcohol. When you are trying to stop alcohol, you cannot stop in one day. You just have to keep going to that bar, but you start regressing. And then every time you break, if you used to drink 3 bottles of beer, and you want to stop addiction, you will start with drinking 2.5. But when the thing starts gets exciting, when the stories are high in the bar and everything, you break it, and then you go out, you go home. You do it once, twice, thrice, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 21 days. Your brain has rewired. It will gain you confidence like crazy. That's how you transcend it. You have started outgrowing the addiction. You have broken the pleasure factor. That's how you break it. Now, I like this. Replace it. After transcending an addiction, you do not stop. It's not over. You have to replace that habit with another productive habit. What do I mean by that? If you used to watch movies, or if you used to go shopping, or if you used to be addicted to going to the bar and getting alcoholic, or just going out, addicted to parties and nightclubs and whatever, you used to spend let's say 12 hours a week doing that. Now you have cut the addiction down to, let's say, you remain with the level that you want. Because let's say if it's watching movies or playing video games, you are going to, and you still like it anyway, you can say, okay, fine, I'm going to cut it to, let's say, 1 hour a day, or just 2 hours a day. I'll be fine with it. After work, 2 hours, no worries. Now you have cut from 12 hours down to 2 hours. Now, what do you do with those 10 hours? If you don't fill those 10 hours with something which replace that old bad habit you had, you are going to come back to the addiction. That's what people miss. So it's very important that you replace an addiction with because it's a bad habit, you replace that bad habit with a good habit. Let's say you have now 10 extra hours. You can say in those 10 extra hours, I'm going to take 3 hours of courses. I'm going to rest 2 hours. I'm going to have dinner with a friend who is in the same business as me or in the same career as me. Then you I'm going to go for sports, training, whatever. Then you start feeding those 10 hours that you cut from the addiction to the habits that are going to advantage you, to the good habits. Now, this is what you've done. You have broken pleasure, you have replaced bad habits with good habits, and you have gained control over the compulsion. Now, what happened? You have transcended addiction. That's what transcending addiction means. You break the pleasure, you replace the habit, you gain control over the pleasure, and then you transcend. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. It's a systematic way. Because remember, you took the steps down the pit, you have to take the same steps out of the pit. That's how you do it. This is what we said. You don't fight addictions, you transcend them. Now, the other thing that affects the other mental health states that you will see in many people is suicidal thoughts. Now, suicidal thoughts, they most of the time come from trauma. A person suffering from suicidal thoughts, it's most of the time because these people are feeling very lonely, and they believe that no one cares about them. Most of the time they have gone through trauma, and those trauma has caused them to behave in a strange way. That's an example. In a strange way, maybe, violence, drugs, rape, molestation, abuse, different ways. And then people start rejecting them. And then they start feeling alone. When they start feeling alone, they think they are not worthy. They think no one needs them. That's when they enter into the suicidal stage. I mean, the suicidal stage is the last one. Someone who has reached a suicidal stage, he's at the end of the rope. He's at the end of the rope. That's why you have to know how to fight them. I mean, these suicidal thoughts, you have to fight them. You have to fight them. You have to learn how to fight them. Number one of how you fight suicidal thoughts is talk to someone and avoid being alone. Because remember, one of the things that triggers suicidal thoughts is a result of being alone when you are passing through a traumatic period. Remember, do you remember that I say that one of the things that a person going through trauma, one of the things he needs or she needs, they need a supportive system. So when you lack a supportive system and you are passing through a traumatic period, you are passing through trauma, you are dealing with trauma, you are going to be suicidal. So the key, if you see someone who is going through a traumatic period, do not allow that person to be alone. Because being alone will cause him to, when people reject that person, because suicidal thoughts come from rejection most of the time, or loss of hope in yourself, in the future, in people, in everything. So, but when you're constantly being with this person, supporting him or supporting them, it is going to help them to, I mean, you are bringing in the supportive system, but they also feel important. You see? They have started feeling important. You can't suicide yourself if you feel important. No. You can't commit suicide when you are with other people. No. Except if those people you are with, they don't care about you. You know, we see that in many families where kids, a father, a mother, they think the only thing kids need it's just they all need good food. They need a driver take them to school. They need good schools, nothing else. So a kid with that, and then kids will start feeling ignored. It's like when the father comes or when the mother is around, the only thing they're doing is just to chat on the phone or just do whatever they're doing, and they don't give attention to the kid. Because when you give attention to a kid, it's going to feel like special. What brings confidence? This is very deep. What gives confidence a child is the attention you give that child at the early stages of his or her life. Very important. A child who has got attention when he was young, that kid is going to be very self-confident, because self-confidence comes from knowing that you are important. So when people have made you feel important since you were young, it's very easy to be confident when you are a grown up. Very easy. Sometimes people, they suffer these things of self-confidence, or they suffer feeling lonely, or lack of showing up, and shoulders back, and then this character, the weight of a person, and when someone shows up, you feel like someone is there. Most of the people lack that thing because of lack of attention in their childhood. So you have to make sure that when you see someone, the best way to help someone who is suicidal is to be around them, to talk to them, to motivate them, to encourage them, to make them feel important. They will not commit suicide. Now, next is to study their patterns. Now, what triggers those thoughts? What caused it? What is it? Because you have to trace it back. Study the patterns. What triggers those thoughts? Now, next, you have to reverse the patterns. You have to reverse the patterns of those thoughts. I mean, that's what we're talking about. If you know that that person did not get attention when he was young, and he's feeling, I mean, that lack of attention, lack of affection, maybe even abuse sometimes. Abuse, some children are abused or molested when they are young. That thing has caused the child not only emotional pain, but mental pain, which became depression. It grew into trauma, and now they are becoming suicidal. So when you are reversing those suicidal thoughts, you have to make sure that if the kid was raped because he was not protected, or because maybe the mom was not around, or because the guardian was not around, you have to make sure that you give the opposite of that. To fight suicidal thoughts caused by lack of protection is to care about that person, so that that person feels protected, so that that person feels in a comfort zone, so that that person feels cared for. Then after that, you have to, if it's thoughts, you have to start reprogramming his mind to say, you are strong. You are strong. I am with you. I'm not going to leave you. Don't worry. Things are going to be perfect. Things are going to be good. No one is going to hurt you. Because some people, I talked about the signs of trauma, there is phobia. You know, when someone, when it's a when it's a case of suicidal thoughts caused by molestation or maybe rape, it's, some people are going to have phobias for given gender. Some, women will be afraid of men, or men will be afraid of women if the guy was, molested or sexually abused by the guy, by a woman. Some men will develop phobias along the way. So you develop a phobia for women, or grown-up women, or phobias for fellow men, something if he was sexually abused by the father. These things, all of those things. So you have to track down the pattern so that you can reverse them. That's how you do it. Because remember, you are dealing with the mind, and oh my God, the language of the mind is thoughts. That's a good one. The language of the mind, just like you speak Kinyarwanda, your mind speaks thoughts. So the best way to cure a mental health issue is to reprogram your mind, is to reprogram the mind, your own mind, or the mind of the victim, by using thoughts. So you replace the thoughts with the opposite of what he's experiencing, or she is experiencing. Now, you have the next one is to repeat the process every time you sense them. Voila. Now, not only you reprogram the victim, but also you teach the victim to reprogram it, to reprogram. How do you reprogram your mind? There is these things that I like to give you at the end of each study guide, called affirmations. These affirmations, they are like codes. They are like programs that you inject in your mind, so that your mind can start processing them, and then you start feeling them. That's why, okay, we'll see it. We'll see it in the coming slide. I don't want to spoil my slide. We will see it. But that's how you do it. Now, the best way to fight suicidal thoughts is to replace them with positive ones. Now, talk about the next step is healing. How do you heal? How do you heal? So first of all, you have to understand that healing is a journey of complete recovery from both emotional and mental pain, or any other mental health condition. That's what healing means. It's a journey of complete recovery. Remember, When you talk about healing, is not a quick fix. I talked about that. It took you five years to go down the pit. It's gonna take you close to 5 years to go out of the pit. Maybe less, maybe more, depending on your effort and your courage. So how are you going to stop to spot someone who has healed? Because we are talking about the purpose and power of healing and forgiveness. We've seen the conditions of the mental health states. Now we talk about the signs of healing. How do you know a person has healed? Number one is empathy. Number one is empathy. A person who has healed is empathetic. Remember that I said that you will be amazed that all of these, I was saying that the language of the mind is your thoughts. Now, someone who has healed, he has renewed the thoughts. That's why even the Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So the best way to cure mental health issues is to change the way people think. Because if I can change the way you think, I can change the way you feel, and I can change the way you behave. So empathy is a sign of healing, because he who is empathetic has healed. Empathy is the capacity to feel the pain, the pain, the peace, the happiness, the joy another person is experiencing. Is to put yourself in another man's shoes. So to be empathetic, it requires a certain level of mindset and the level of maturity and healing. You cannot reach that level when you cannot be empathetic when you are struggling. Give me a second. Going to recharge my computer. So you cannot be empathetic. You cannot be empathetic if you are still carrying the luggages. Because remember, to be empathetic is a result of feeling the love toward others. You are putting yourself in another man's you're putting yourself in another man's shoes, in another man's situation and circumstance. So that it takes you to be so flexible that you understand. So you can't be mentally flexible when you are dealing with issues. Now, you are stable and reliable. That's a sign of healing. Stable and reliable means I can rely on you. You are stable in your mind. People who are not stable in their minds, they change their moods every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, every 30 minutes. One day he's happy, another day he's sad, another one he's anxious, another day he's or she is crazy, she's fighting. So when you see these patterns, if you notice people in your workplace or in your family who are dealing with, who are not stable in their emotions, normally a normal person should be stable. You should be the same person. Some things can disturb you, but you have to know when you are healed, you know how to process your issues without insulting people or disrespecting people or losing your temper or screaming at people. You don't have to fume. No, that's a sign that you are dealing with, because this is what happens when you are not healed. You will keep projecting you will keep projecting your insecurities toward other people. You will overreact over things because they triggered something. Someone said the word, and then it triggered something related to the pain you did not process, and then your mood changes completely. You become another person. Number three, self-confidence. When you are healed, I was talking about insecurities. When you are healed, you have no insecurities, because you know your value, you know your worth. A healed person, a normal person, is self-confident. He's not struggling with the problem of confidence. No, no, because he knows that whatever you say, whether you respect him, disrespect that person, he doesn't care. She doesn't care. She just knows that these people know that whatever you do, it's you, it's not them. They don't confuse your behaviors to their identity. Ah, I like that. They don't confuse what you do with who they are. That's very powerful. It means you can insult this person and then you say, okay, guy, okay, fine, I forgive you. Because it's not you. You don't understand. It's not you. It has nothing. Or I think the right way to put it is to say, healed people don't take things personal. when the way they deal with issues, they don't take anything personal. No, because they know they have nothing inside of them that is, I mean, they have nothing. You can't trigger anything in them. They have mastered themselves. They are so self-aware that whatever you do, it cannot affect them. Nothing affects your peace. Nothing affects your joy. Nothing affects your stability. Because you know everything that happens to you is external. It has nothing to do with you. They are purpose-driven. When you are healed, you can pursue your purpose. Some people say, oh, you know what? I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know how to find it, blah, 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 and other things related to that. But let me tell you something. You cannot find your purpose. God cannot reveal your purpose to you if you are not healed. Because God cannot use you when you are damaged. No, sorry to say that. But God does not use people who are not restored. Because if you're not restored and God tries to use you, it's like using a car which is in a critical condition. That car is going to cause an accident in the road. If you know a car has issues, you cannot use it. No, you just have to fix it first. You have to fix it first. That's why you cannot pursue, you cannot discover your passion, your purpose if you are not healed. It's impossible. You have to heal first. Of course, they are self-aware. I was talking about that. There is no way you can pursue your purpose if you are not healed. There's no way God can use you if you're not healed. He's just waiting you to heal. And I believe that if you're going to watch this video, you have the tools to heal. You just have to do the work. You have to do your healing work. It's not something which is going to come in a blink of an eye. It's just a journey. There's no quick fix, no shortcuts. So number one, when you are healing, you have to accept that you are hurt. That's the first thing, because some people tend to act strong. I'm strong. I don't care. No, you care. Someone hurt you. Someone did something bad to you. You are hurt. You have to accept that. It's not a sign of weakness. No. Some people are grown in conditions that causes them to be harsh on themselves to the point where they don't even want to agree that they need help or they need someone or they are hurting. So the first step, you have to accept that you are hurt. Number two, you have to identify your pain and its origin. This is how you heal, guys. What is my pain? What is going on? What hurt me? Okay. What is the origin of this? Why do I feel this way? What happened? Next is to process that pain and forgive and reconcile. We'll talk about forgiveness in a bit. Then you have to stay healed. Because after forgiving and reconciling, you have also to stay healed. You have to do your work, but also you have to stay clean. If you go to if you shower, you have to manage to stay. Of course, something are going, you are going to shower at least every day, but at least if you shower, you have to find a way to keep yourself to stay clean a little bit, just a little bit. You cannot say, you have to protect your mind, because this is what happens, guys. You go through a heartbreak, someone breaks your heart or someone disappoints you, and you say, you know what, I'm going to heal again. And then you go into that same situation again. And then that person is going to break you again. And then you keep in that vicious cycle. You go in relationships that are going to hurt you. You know those relationships are going to hurt you. You have just healed. Then you go exactly to relate to the same person that hurt you, or who has the same habits, or who has the same traits and same personality. That's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. So you have to know that, even though, because this is what happens, the more you keep getting hurt, the more you keep getting heartbroken, the more you keep getting, you are exhausting your mind, you are exhausting your psychology, you are exhausting yourself. That's why you have to protect your heart. You have to be careful. If someone hurt you because you did not pay attention, now next time you have to pay attention. Don't repeat the same mistakes. Be careful, be responsible. The benefits of healing. Oh my God. Number one is peace of mind. Peace of mind. A healed person is peaceful. A healed person has psychological relief. When you heal, you release pain. You have released pain. There is a luggage that has gone out of your back. You have healthy relationships. When I say healthy relationships, I mean professional, I mean, acquaintances, family, romantic, every type of relationship, even good relationship with not only God, but also yourself. You have a good self-perception. You love yourself. You enjoy your own company. Some people can't stand to be on their own. Some people can't stand to be on their own, just alone. They can't stand it. You become useful again. I like this. When you are healed, God is going to use you again. God can use you. I mean, you can start doing useful things to society. Because if you try to do something meaningful to society, if you try to pursue a purpose when you are not healed, first of all, God is not going to allow you. But again, even though you force it, you are going to break yourself. Because if you try to do something when you are not healed, you are going to cause damage. It's just like I explained it. It's just like a car in the road with, I mean, it's, a car in a critical condition trying to go in the road, and then it's like riding a defected car, or just a car which is not functioning, or a car without wheels, or with problems in the engine, something like that. It's going to hurt people. So one of the benefits of getting healed is to be useful back again, is to be useful again. You become useful to society, to people, to God, to everyone, even to yourself. Next, you become an agent of love, empathy, and compassion. I like this. A healed person has compassion for those who are hurting. When you see someone who has no compassion for people, who don't understand the situation that other people are going through, that person is dealing with a pain that he did not heal. Because if you did not heal, if you don't have, I think Enoch said it last night. He said, you have to love yourself unconditionally. If you don't love yourself, you can't love others, because you love others to the degree you love yourself. That's why the first commandment says, love, first of all, God, but also love others just like you love yourself. It means just like you love yourself, which means that you can't give any more. You can't give anymore. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. If you're not careful with your life, you can't be careful with other people's lives. That's why even when someone treats you, in a wrong way, someone who disrespects others, he does not respect himself. So when you are healed, you become an agent of love, empathy, and compassion because you have been because you have experienced love, empathy, and compassion. Then uh, you are projecting it, you are reflecting it to others. Healing is transferable. Healing is transferable. When you are healed, you transfer healing to your children. Because imagine if you give birth to your child, or if you are in a workplace, let's say in a workplace, when you feel good about yourself, you are going to spread that energy to others. You're going to spread that peace, that love, that care, that empathy, that compassion to other people around you. Simply because that's how you are feeling about yourself. It's very bad to it's very uncommon. It's also impossible to feel love for yourself and hate others or cause others trouble. It's impossible because healing is transferable. Peace is transferable. Healthy relationships are transferable. Love, empathy, compassion is all transferable. Now, forgiveness is applied love, empathy, and compassion. Now, when you talk about healing, you can't forget to talk about forgiveness because, in fact, healing is a result of forgiveness. We are going down in the deep. When you forgive someone who has hurt you, you are applying love, empathy, and compassion. That's why it says, love without deeds is, the Bible says that love without deeds is vain, or faith without deeds is vain. If you believe that everyone deserves love, you have to forgive those people. If you claim that you have love, you care for people, but you don't forgive, that's not true. That's not true. You are not only deceiving, other people, you're also deceiving yourself. It's impossible. Uh, and and the challenge comes when people say, "So how do you forgive? How do you forgive someone after getting hurt? How do you forgive someone? How do you proceed?" So number one is to process your pain and heal. First of all, that's the first thing. You have to process your pain and you have to heal from it. Because when you have not processed your pain, you can't forgive. It's just impossible. Just go back and know the type of pain you are having, the type of mental health issue you are having, then process it. Next, acknowledge that the offender did not know any better. This is how you do it. Knowing that a person who hurt you did not know any better. That's the best they can do. That's who they are. You cannot change them. By the way, forgiveness does not release only, it does not release, forgiveness is not, okay, we will say it, you will say it. Let me not spoil this. Now, let your love, empathy, and compassion outgrow the grudge. Wow, I like this. Let the love, the empathy, and compassion become bigger than what the person has done to you. I mean, this is a journey, guys. This is a journey. This is a journey. When you talk about outgrowing the grudge, it simply means that you have to go above, you have to have a level of love and empathy and compassion that is bigger than the pain that you have felt. That's why it's very, very important to process it first. Next, you have to release the offender. You have to release the offender. I mean, this is the result of outgrowing the grudge, is to say, okay, fine. That sip of saying, fine, it means you have outgrown the pain. Next is the offender must receive forgiveness. Voila. I like this. I like this. Sometimes people are forgiven, but they don't receive forgiveness. They don't receive forgiveness. And people who don't receive forgiveness, most of the time, it's because they don't think they deserve it. Because if you don't have love for yourself, as I said earlier, if you don't have love for yourself, you don't think you deserve it. If you don't love yourself and someone tries to love you, you will think that person wants to hurt you because you don't have love for yourself. But if you have love for yourself, if you have forgiven yourself first, by the way, if you do something which is wrong, you have also to forgive yourself. We talked about it in failure in the first slides, early slides. This is very important, because if the offender does not receive forgiveness, then it's a problem. He has to receive also the forgiveness. He deserves it. He has to understand that you deserve forgiveness. What you did, it's a mistake, it's an error, it's a crime, but you deserve forgiveness. You can be forgiven, because life does not end with your mistake. Your mistakes does not define you unless you don't learn anything. Does not define you unless you don't learn anything from those mistakes. That's when the mistakes define you. But when you commit a crime and then you learn from it, from the mistakes, then that mistake becomes a stepping stone, not an obstacle, not an impediment on your journey to fulfillment. Very important. Now, this is why you should forgive. This is why you should forgive. Number one, when you forgive, it releases your soul to fly higher. I like this. I like this so much. This means that if you don't forgive someone, you will be like someone holding a bird or someone holding something in a chain, because that person is in a chain and you are holding the chain. So you cannot move, you cannot fly if you are holding a chain. I don't care if you are the one who is holding the chain or if you are the one in chain, but anyone involved in that chain, no matter the end of the chain you are located to, you are not going to fly higher. Because I noticed something. When someone is hurting and this kind of anger, it feels a little bit, it's like eating, it feels almost good to say that person has hurt me. He has hurt me. Akajinya, like you have that anger. It's like akakajinya ndashaka kukagumana. I want to feel it. It's like you are eating chili pepper, and then you keep wanting that chili to feel it. But that's very dangerous. That's very bad. Because that thing you are holding onto, it is blocking the best days of your life. It is blocking the people who are going to come in your life to bless you. It is blocking the peace of your mind. It is blocking the blessings that were going to come into your life. It is blocking you to go higher, to fly, to reach new extremities, to have new boundaries. I mean, to extend and expand your horizons and reach and have new experiences in your life. That's why you have to forgive. Forgiveness, okay, it's for the offender. But 99.9999999% it's for you. It's for you. You can't be peaceful when you don't forgive. Okay, let's be logical here. If forgiveness is forgiveness is blocking your joy and peace, who is suffering? The person who offended you or you? Obviously, it's you. You can't grow maturely, spiritual. You can't have spiritual evolution when you don't forgive. I mean, you are not going to have spiritual maturity. I don't like to use spiritual maturity because your spirit does not mature, it just evolves. Because something which matures, it means it's going to die. But something which evolves, it's going to be enlightened. It's going to expand. So your spirit evolves. It does not mature. So when you are not forgiving, you are blocking your own evolution, your conscious evolution. Your mind is not going to grow. Your brain is not going to grow. Your soul is trapped in a cage of keep holding onto that thing. But when you release it, it's hard. It's hard to release it. But when you release it, my dear, life is going to change. Light is going to come into your life. You are going to feel new again. So you got to choose what you want. It's a stepping stone to wholeness. I like this. What is wholeness? What is wholeness? What is wholeness? Wholeness is experiencing the fullness of God, experiencing God in full in your life. When you are whole, you don't depend on others to be the source of your joy, the source of your happiness, the source of your strength, the source of your peace. When you are whole, you get everything. You are overflowing. I like this. You are overflowing. Your spirit is overflowing when you are whole. You cannot be whole when you are holding grudges. It's impossible because the grudges are occupying the space which was supposed to be occupied by peace, by joy, by wealth, by happiness, by joy. So it's just about you to choose what you want. You are the one who has to choose. Then when you choose, you're going to get, you get the relative interest or the relative benefits of what you choose. You can hold on to grudges and keep feeling that thing that you want, that itchy feeling that you want to feel. Or you can say, let me release the person so that I can get back to wholeness and my spirit can evolve. Now, last but not least, in the last minutes of this presentation, let's talk about a vigorous mental health. When you talk about a vigorous mental health, you are talking about a person who with a vigorous mental health is a person who never goes to bed with any unprocessed pain or issue. They maintain themselves on a daily basis. They have mastered to use their thoughts, feelings, and emotions in their own benefits. This is what I wish for all of you. This is what I wish for all of you. You deserve a vigorous mental health. You deserve a vigorous mental health. But a vigorous mental health, you have to work for it. You have to work for it. It's a daily basis work. You will see some people are very ecstatic, they're very happy, they're joyful, they're peaceful, they are calm. They are so loving, they are so caring. You wonder, what is going on with these people? You're asking yourself, how can you laugh like that? You laugh like a kid. What happened to you? What did life do to you? So these are the 7 ways I believe can help you to maintain a vigorous mental health. Number 1, you have to program your mind. This is what you have to do. You have to keep programming your mind. Keep monitoring your thoughts. Daily affirmations. You can say that to yourself. When someone hurts you, just make sure that you process that as soon as quick. Change that thought as soon as possible. You can use daily affirmation. This is one of the things. Number 2, listen and watch uplifting contents. This is also part of the mind. Make sure that everything that surrounds you is uplifting you, is putting you on a level which uplift you, which on a level which raise your vibration positively. Number 3, surround yourself with people who raise your mental energy. If you keep hanging around people who lowers the energy of your mind, then forget about a vigorous mental health. Number 4, cheer yourself up, bro, sister. Cheer yourself up. Encourage yourself. Do not depend on external motivation, because external motivation is unreliable. You can't rely on it. But internal motivation is reliable, is sustainable, because it is you. You have also to protect your environment. You have to make sure that your environment is protected. Do not allow people in your cycle that are going to bring things that are going to cause, to disturb you or to put you in a mood that you don't want. Be very selective. Watch your thoughts and feelings. Very important. Become the police of your mind. Monitor everything. If a feeling in you changes, ask yourself, why did that change? Why am I feeling sad? Why am I feeling this way? Why? Keep asking yourself so that you monitor. By the way, that will rewire your brain to become the police of your mind. Oh, I like that. When you do this, your brain will be so awake, that it will notify you, just like when you receive a message on WhatsApp, the application notifies you. The brain will notify you right away that there is an intruder that is coming. Please remove it. Because your brain is like a computer, you program it using your thoughts. Amen. I like that. I like that so much. I told you about that. The programming language of your brain, the programming language of your mind is thoughts. Thoughts are programming languages of your mind. Your mind understands the language of thoughts. That's why you have to monitor them. Everything that people suffer in their lives is a product of their imagination, is a product of their thoughts. Memory and imagination. Memory and imagination. People suffer their own sense of memory and imagination. That's what they suffer. Practice calm and stillness for self-consciousness. I told you about that. Self-consciousness is intentional self-awareness. That's what self-consciousness is. Intentional self-awareness. You are intentionally self-aware. You are intentionally aware of yourself. You are monitoring everything in your life. I mean, that's what taking charge of your life means. Gukontrola ubuzima bwawe ntabwo ari ugukontrola amafaranga, abo muvukana mukorana, ibyo urya ibyo unywa. No. Management y'ubuzima bw'umuntu izingiye muri management na control y'ibitekerezo n'ibyiyumviro bye. If you can master that, it's going to give a different behavior pattern that is going to bring results that are amazing in your life. That are amazing in your life. That's why I say you practice calmness and stillness. Take a moment in your day, just 5-10 minutes. Sit quiet, feel your body. Breathe and feel how you are breathing. Just a peace, just peace, just that quietness. Just shut your mouth up and just listen. Just feel how you are feeling. Feel, watch your thoughts like you are watching them on a TV. And breathe. This will help you a lot. I believe this will help you. And this, of course, requires a lot of work. A lot of work. Guys, I have never been appreciative of this revelation after seeing, not, until I received this, these contents. Came to appreciate and say, man, that's a lot of work that people have done. That's a lot of work that people have to do. I mean, this is a full-time job. It's a full-time job. So I believe that this content has, this module have helped you. You have understood not only, the importance of healing and forgiveness, but also the process of getting hurt and the process and how, how the mind keep converting hearts into different mental health states to the point where a person, is almost going to hurt themselves. But again, on top of that, we've also learned how you can reverse that process and use your thoughts, feelings, and emotions in your own benefit. I thank you so much, and I bless you. I bless your life, and I wish nothing to you except a vigorous mental health, which is a huge stepping stone. It's not actually even a stepping stone. It's an elevator to the fulfillment of your purpose. God bless you. Thank you very much, guys. Are you still around? I see Rudasingwa Eve. You left yesterday earlier, Makuru.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
What?
Bites.
Mrs. Sawa sawa.
Amakuru. Biragenda.
Sa biragenda to.
How are you feeling today?
Great, man. Intoza ikosi nari nkeneye.
Thank you.
Urumva? Nari nkeneye. N'ubundi nyumvishe ntari stable neza n'ubundi nari ntwaye n'iki.
No worries.
Ndi deranje cyane.
No worries.
Ariko I think nzasubiramo intoza aho byo ntumvishe neza nzasubiramo yesterday guide na.
Absolutely.
So me yasindebe.
Good. So, I think without holding you, so do you want to add any comment or the way you are feeling about this course, or we can close by here?
We should close.
Okay, great.
I have nothing to say right now. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So no worries.
But I think Benita has something to say.
Benita, you want to add a comment? Thank you too. Okay, nothing. Okay, good. No worries. Yeah. Thank you very much. So I think even no worries, we are going to send the record of this video as usual, and you can watch from the beginning. And I think I've talked to this with Benita. So we are approaching the end of the program. To sigaje only one course 10 this coming Friday. Tuzaba dusigaje ibyumweru bibiri aho tuzakoramo a sort of mentorship, but it's basically questions and answers. Hanyuma, I was reminding Teta that if abantu bamissing the assessment, you go back, you do them so that we can have good looking certificates. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, I think wowe
nasigaye
yeah izawe biri in order.
narikoze nari nasimbutse.
Yeah, hari imwe wari wasimbutse, so no worries, you can go back and do it before we close. Yeah. Okay,
narikoze
warayikoze nayo? Okay, fine, ndaza kureba and then we update the marks. Okay, good. All right, thank you very much. Have a blessed Saturday, Sunday, and we meet each other Friday. Thank you very much.